Hey guys, so I'm here this week doing two reviews this week for two big movies um, that both have a similar theme, to say the least, in that a lot of people see them as new installments in a movie franchise that movie franchises that no one really asked for, let's say the least, and are really unnecessary. A lot of sequels are unnecessary, but some even unnecessary sequels can be good. They're both franchises that I like, but I kind of like one more than the other, which I'll get into. Um, but I'm obviously talking about Hangover Part III and Fast and Furious 6. Both I will be reviewing today. I'm going to be reviewing Hangover Part 3, and tomorrow I will be reviewing Fast and Furious 6. So I got back earlier from seeing Hangover Part 3. I, to say the least, was not looking forward to this. Give you my thoughts on the first two. I liked the first one. I was pretty pretty I was a fan of the first one, I would say. um, I wasn't as, ecstatic and didn't love it as much as a lot of people do. um, I know some people that I remember seeing the movie like when it first came out and thought, oh, that was pretty good. It was a good comedy. It was not perfect. It was good. And then a week later, everybody else saw it, and everybody was like, "This is the greatest comedy that ever existed." And I'm like, "No, it's not. You have not seen many good comedies, apparently." I felt the problem with the movie was that while there was good laughs in it, a lot of the laughs were few and far between, in my opinion, and that I thought it was just an okay comedy, in my opinion. And then the second one came out, and that is a good example of a really lazy sequel, and an unnecessary sequel, to say the least. That is probably the best example. They basically copied and pasted the events from the first one and stuck them in the second one, but this time they're in Bangkok, and this time instead of a tiger and a baby, they involve a monkey and I forget what. Fuck, I can't remember. Uh, I, I kept telling people, save your money. Don't go see Hangover Part 2. Just go watch the first one again. And imagine it's in Bangkok, and there you go. Don't I saved you just a bunch of money. Um, so after they made a second one, and plus, I was sitting there like even before the second one came out, when I heard the second one was coming out, I'm like, why make a second movie? There's no point in making it. This is a series. This is a movie that should have never had a sequel. There was no point in making a sequel to Hangover. It was just a cash cow. I mean, that was exactly why they made a second one, and now they made a third one. So yeah, third one I was not looking forward to because I was worried that there was going to be a rehash of the first one again for a third time. But then the trailers started coming out, and it showed that they were going to do something completely different this time, and I kind of was interested in where they were going to go with this, and whether it was going to be good this time as a sequel, since it was going to do something different. Um, I still had very low expectations going into this, even though I had some hopes. And plus, at the end of the day, I was like, "Yeah, I've seen the other two, so I guess should go and see how this one ends." And since this is supposedly the last movie of the trilogy, that's what they say. It's the last movie. But if this movie makes a crap load of money, they're going to change their opinion and say, "Oh, we're going to make another one." I guarantee that's what's going to happen. It always happens in every franchise. Um, so coming out, even though it had light expectations, I can honestly say I thought it was an okay movie. I thought it was a lot better. Hangover Part 3 I'm talking about. I thought it was a lot better than the second movie. Um, it's definitely not perfect, and it's not as good as the original, but it has its moments, and honestly, it does suffer. One of the problems it does suffer from in the movie is that it suffers kind of the same problem that the first one had, which was that it had way too many. The jokes were few and far between. But in this one, there was a lot uh, less funny parts than in the original. So that's why the original is better than this one, obviously. Um, this movie, I gotta give it credit. They actually decided to go a different route with this one. In that they made it really dark. The other movies were dark, but this one goes pretty dark. John Goodman's character in this movie is I don't know if he's like a mobster or something. He's but Chow owes him like Chow stole gold from him. Basically, that's what the plot is. Chow stole gold from John Goodman, and basically he wants the gold back. And Chow has escaped prison from a Bangkok prison by basically copying the Shawshank Redemption. I'm not joking. They basically copied Shawshank Redemption, the ending of Shawshank Redemption, which is bullshit. I was like, really? I remember going, really? You're gonna do that? I mean, uh, and yeah, Chow escapes prison, and so John Goodman finds out that Chow has been contacting Alan the whole time while he was in prison. So he tracks down Alan and Stu and all of the other guys while they are trying to take Alan to a rehabilitation center because he's starting to go crazy, even though he's been crazy as it is in the last two films. Uh, he's about as bizarre and crazy as he was in the last two films. So I don't know how more bizarre he can get. I'll talk about Zach Galifianakis in a little bit, but yeah, John Goodman tracks them down and decides to kidnap Doug. That poor guy. And by the way, that poor guy, he keeps getting kidnapped. Again, he basically gets kidnapped, and they have to find Chow and get the gold. The gold that Chow stole from John Goodman, or John Goodman's gonna kill Doug. And honestly, John Goodman is one of the best parts of this movie. He is really good, really frightening as a villain. Last movie had Paul Giamatti, which was great. I forget there wasn't really well, they had Chow as the villain in the last one, but John Goodman is really good. Not as good as Paul Giamatti in the second one, but he is really good in this. He's kind of frightening in this. I thought all the guys in there. I like Ed Helms from The Office. I like Bradley Cooper and all of them. Zach Galifianakis obviously is like the second one, is given more of a big role like he did in the second one, where he's the main focus more than the other guys, and that's because of his popularity. I'm not a huge fan of Zach Galifianakis, and I liked him in the first movie. I really loved him in the first movie. I thought he was great. It was his breakout role. The second movie, I could not stand him. One of the biggest reasons one of the biggest reasons I could not stand him in the Alan character was the fact that why would these guys want to hang out with him? He keeps screwing up their lives badly. Why would you continue going after this guy? Is an idiot. I mean, he was not. Plus, Zach Galifianakis became really obnoxious in the second one. This one, he tones it down a lot more, and it's kind of ended up kind of ends up being likable like he was in the first movie. So I really thought that was one thing that was improved on from the second one, was that they made Zach Galifianakis' character likable like they did in the first one, unlike the second one where he was just obnoxious, and I'm like, why would they be friends with this guy? He continues to ruin your lives. And you kind of ask that same question. Honestly, these guys are kind of idiots. They, follow Alan and Chow basically follow the directions of both of them, and they end up getting themselves in bad situations. You think they would learn their lesson once before. I mean, hello, the first movie. Yeah, the same with that's what my problem with the second one was. Is just you would think they would learn your freaking lesson this first time of this Alan character, but this one, he isn't drugging them and everything else and made to look like an idiot and made to be obnoxious. They actually tones it down a lot. I like that. Again, even though it was a dark movie, I thought this movie could have been a lot because of the laughs were few and far between. I thought this movie could have been a lot better as a thriller than actually as a comedy. And I still think, I don't know, I still think, yeah, this one takes, even though it has the balls to be darker, it still needed to have a few good laughs, and it does have a few good laughs. I'll give it that. One of my favorite, I do love the opening scene with the giraffe. That is hysterical. Or Alan, you've seen it in the trailers. If you've seen the trailers, you've seen it. Where Alan buys a giraffe for some reason, and it decapitate. He's driving along the freeway, and and the giraffe ends up being decapitated by a low bridge, and basically the head of the giraffe goes for the windshield of like a family. It's kind of hysterical. I know it's sick to be finding that funny, but it is kind of funny. It is a pretty good scene. I mean, even though the giraffe CGI obviously and stuff, you can't kill. What other things? I liked when Chow was singing "Hurt," and Bradley Cooper goes, "What the fuck am I watching?" That was exactly my reaction. I was like, that was actually a pretty good reaction, and that was one of my favorite. I'm trying to think. It's been a while. It's been a couple hours since I've seen the movie, so I can't remember everything. But the one other thing I remembered loving the most, and I recommend, is the thing at the end of the credits. Now, the funny thing about these movies is that the first two movies, the best part of them, the movies, were what they showed at the end of the credits, which were basically pictures of what happened when they're all black, when the night before, and the stuff that they don't remember, obviously. Those were really amusing pictures. The first two, I thought the first one was the best one. Series of photos, obviously. Second one was just trying to copy, but they were funny, And this one, instead of doing that, they decide, because obviously they weren't drugged or anything, so they didn't black out the night before or anything like that. And so there aren't photos. Instead, they put an add-on scene that kind of hints that they're going to do a fourth one, which I'm like, God damn it, please don't do it. But at the same time, it's hysterical. It got probably the biggest laugh. Honestly, I was in this theater. There was not many people there. I was like 11:40 in the morning, so I got to see it when really nobody was at the movie theater. There was barely any laughs in the theater. Barely people laughed at it, and that's usually a bad sign. Maybe if I saw a crowded theater, it'd be different. I'm sure it probably would have been. But That was the biggest laugh. There's something involving Stu in this end credit scene that got the biggest laugh, and even I was a little taken aback. Is you gotta remember. I'll just give you a hint. Basically, it ends where they kind of end up like they did in the first two movies, where they end up being drugged up, and they wake up. I'm not spoiling it all away. And they wake up and they don't remember the night before, and they show the wreckage in this room that they're in, and Stu walks out, and the revelation of what happened to Stu. If you remember, Stu in the first movie and the first movie he got his tooth, he pulled his tooth out. In the second movie, he got a tattoo like Mike Tyson. In this one, they go even really crazy with what happens to Stu. It's really, it's something you have to see to believe. It got the biggest laugh out of the theater. I almost left the movie theater before that scene, and I'm so happy I didn't. That was the best part of the movie. Definitely stay. It's like during the end credits, like 10 minutes into the or 2 minutes into the end credits. If you stay 2 minutes for 2 minutes of end credits, you'll see the scene. It's worth seeing. I don't. I guess I would kind of recommend this movie. By the way, or recommend this movie. I would probably say rent it when it comes out in DVD. It's not a movie worth watching, going to see a theater at. Just watch it on Redbox or whatever, or go rent it somewhere. It's not that good, not good enough to pay the price of admission that they ask you to do nowadays, in my opinion. Even though it does something different, it is, and I'm glad they did something different. It still is not a great comedy, which is its main issue. Like I said, it has too many. Even though I laughed at, there were parts I laughed at. I'll admit, there was a lot of parts I didn't laugh at. There was a long stretch of period during the movie, where I was not laughing, and that's an issue. And like I said, I feel like this movie could have been better as a thriller than a comedy, and I think I still would assume that, especially if like the John Goodman character, he would be better in a different movie. Honestly, he would fit, but even though he would fit better in a different movie, he was probably the best part of this movie. Before I get off here, I want to talk about some of the trailers I got, because I did get some pretty good ones. I usually don't talk about the trailers I got. Hold on, give me 1 second. Wrote them down on my phone. Let me get through these. Damn it. Excuse me, guys, for a second. I got World War Z, which I could give two craps about. That looks terrible. I got The Purge. Anybody who's if you have not seen that trailer, it's basically, if you don't know what this movie is, it's Ethan Hawke and stars Ethan Hawke and the Lena Headey, and it's set in the future where for 12 hours every year, on a certain day every year, there's a thing called the Purge that happens, and it's basically where all crime. It's a day where all the police department and all stuff are shut down, and that all crime is legal. And basically, this is Ethan Hawke's and Lena Headey secured their home with their children, basically, and one of their children accidentally lets in somebody who's asking for help, This is during the purge, obviously, and then mass people come towards their house. I can't describe this movie best, but this movie, mass people come at their house and asking for this guy, basically, and all creepiness starts happening. It looks like one of those movies that it could be unintentional. It's gonna either be unintentionally funny, or, or actually, it's gonna be unintentionally freaking hilarious, or it's gonna be pretty scary. I'm gonna go with the unintentionally funny. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna review it in a couple weeks. I'm really looking forward to it. That movie looks. It could be a blast to sit through. I'm honestly looking forward to that. I can't do the movie justice, the trailer justice. Go see it. If you haven't seen it, go online and see it. This is the end, which looks really funny with basically Seth Rogen, Jay Birchall, Craig Robinson, James Franco, God, who else? All playing themselves, and it's like they're having a party at James Franco's house, and then the end of the world happens, and at one point they get robbed by Hermione or Emma Watson, and they're like, "Got her shit taken away from, got her Hermione Granger took her shit." It's hysterical. That looks funny. No, I want to talk about the two trailers that did, or three trailers that the main three, the new trailers that I got with this movie were one, Machete Kills. I'm a fan of Machete, the original film. I was a fan of it. I wasn't. The only issue I had with the original was that it went too political for a movie like that. It tried to have some kind of political message about the illegal immigration and all that stuff like that, and it tried too hard, and I thought that was a really big fault of the movie, but I still enjoyed it, but I thought it was a really big fault, and didn't, for a movie like that that's just a pure grindhouse film, it didn't need that. I know there's a lot of critics that agree with me. I know a lot of people that do agree with me about that, but I still like the movie. So Machete Kills. You got. I gotta remember off the top of my head. You got William Sadler in it. Mel Gibson's the villain. Lady Gaga. I heard she was gonna be a villain in this, but I guess not. It's Mel Gibson, which I'm happy he's the villain. Cuba Gooding Jr. and it says and at the end of the trailer it says, and introducing Carlos Estevez. And like, Carlos Estevez, what the hell? And it's just Charlie Sheen. That is Charlie Sheen's real name, Carlos Estevez. I did look that up, so I wanted to make sure. Apparently, in this movie, he's using his real name instead of Charlie Sheen for some reason. It's kind of hysterical. And Charlie Sheen's the president of the United States in this movie. I want to live in, dude. That would be the most awesome world to live in, with Charlie Sheen as the president of the United States. That would be awesome. Also got this trailer for Word of Millers. It's with Jason Sudeikis and Jennifer Aniston, who act like this fake married couple so they could go across the border of Mexico. They also hire basically Jason Sudeikis hires Jennifer Aniston to be his wife, fake wife, and she's like a stripper that he at this strip joint that he goes to frequently. And then he also hires these two teenagers to act as their kids, and basically they go on a trip to Mexico to basically take these drugs across the border. It looks like it's a comedy, and like the guy that gives him the drugs, gives Jason Sudeikis the drugs, is Ed Helms. It looks like it'll be kind of funny. I like the idea that it's like a fake family road trip, but also at the same time being like a drug dealer, a movie about drug dealing. It's kind of interesting and kind of different. Also got the new trailer for Man of Steel. I think I've said on here a couple times that I'm not. I've seen the other trailers for Man of Steel, and I wasn't greatly impressed, as many people are. But by God, I saw this trailer. I hadn't seen it. I know it popped up online a couple days ago, and I hadn't watched it yet. And I finally saw it in the trailer. At first, I didn't even think that I didn't realize it was a Man of Steel trailer. It looked like a new found footage movie, and it basically the trailer focuses on Michael Shannon's General Zod, and by God, does that look good? He looks like he's gonna be really good in that. That trailer was awesome. It was probably the best trailer of the whole of all of them. Especially because it focuses on Michael Shannon's General Zod. Michael Shannon, I'm not a huge fan of, but I do really. I've seen him stuff that I really like him in. Um, he is a guy that can go over the top and be really good at the same time. Um, I just watched recently a Premium Rush with him in it, and he is he was so over the top in that movie, and it looks like he could be really over the top in this one. But man, he could be intimidating as hell too. He has that look that he can be really good. He makes me really interested in Man of Steel to see him as General Zod. I don't know how that guy's not won an Oscar yet. But okay, now I'm just rambling. Yeah, those trailers were pretty awesome though. Unfortunately, some of those trailers were better than the actual movie. That's kind of sad. I had a feeling that was going to happen. Um, alright. I'm going to get off here, and I'll be back not next week, I'll be back tomorrow with Fast and Furious 6. I am actually looking forward to that a lot more than I was looking forward to Hangover Part 3. So, I will be back tomorrow with Fast and Furious 6.